Oh, gather round, my friends. Let me tell you the story of Taju, a young man from the village of Iluoro. Taju was as tall as a palm tree but as lazy as a sleeping lizard. While the other villagers were toiling away farming, fishing, and trading, Taju had a different plan. His plan? To do absolutely nothing. Why should I farm when my uncle always has food? Taju would say, stretching lazily under the mango tree. Why should I fish when my friends always have leftovers? At first, the villagers would sigh and shake their heads in pity, thinking Taju might change. But weeks turned into months, and Taju's laziness only grew. Soon, no one bothered to share their food with him. And so, Taju grew thinner and thinner, so thin that the wind could almost blow him away. Yet, instead of walking, he rubbed his empty stomach and mumbled, "There must be an easy way to eat." That was when Taju overheard some old men talking around the fire one evening. "They say deep in the forest, there's a magical yam," one elder whispered, his eyes wide with wonder. "They say it will plant itself, cook itself, and even serve itself on a plate. The perfect food for a lazy man like you." Another elder chuckled. "Only a fool would believe such nonsense." But Taju's eyes gleamed with excitement. This was the answer to all his problems. He jumped up, his stomach growling louder than ever. "Perfect! This yam is for me," he shouted, rubbing his hands together. Without a second thought, he grabbed his walking stick and hurried off into the forest, his mind racing with thoughts of endless food. The sun was setting as Taju ventured deeper into the woods. The trees grew taller and thicker, casting shadows that made the forest seem darker and more mysterious. Taju's heart raced, his excitement growing with each step. "I'm going to get that magical yam," he thought to himself. Hours passed, and just as he was about to give up, he spotted it, the biggest, fattest yam he had ever seen. It sat gleaming in the middle of a clearing, its skin golden and shining like treasure. Taju's mouth watered, and he could already taste it. He approached slowly, crouching down to grab it. But just as his hand was inches away, boing! The yam jumped like a frog and bounced across the clearing. Taju blinked. "Did that yam just jump?" he gasped, rubbing his eyes in disbelief. Without wasting a moment, he lunged forward to grab it again. But once more, boing! The yam hopped even farther. "Yam, stop running!" Taju shouted, now running after it, his feet pounding the earth. "I only want to eat you." The yam turned its leafy top toward him and, to Taju's shock, it spoke. "Lazy man, if you want to eat me, you must chase me," the yam laughed mischievously. Taju's hunger burned like fire. Forgetting all his laziness, he tore through the forest, ignoring branches that whipped across his face, jumping over rocks and streams. The yam bounced and rolled faster, its green leaves fluttering in the wind. Through thick bushes. Over rushing rivers. Across steep hills. The chase seemed endless, and Taju's legs grew tired, his chest heaving with each breath. But he refused to stop. Just when he thought he was about to catch it, the yam disappeared over a cliff, a thud. Taju stumbled, losing his balance. He reached out for a tree branch, but it snapped beneath his weight. With a loud scream, he fell into a deep pit. "Yeah! Somebody help me," he cried, flailing his arms wildly. The villagers, hearing Taju's desperate cries, rushed to the scene. When they saw him at the bottom of the pit, they burst into laughter, shaking their heads. The village chief, holding his stomach from laughing so hard, walked over to the edge of the pit. "Taju, what are you doing in that hole?" he asked, amused. Ashamed, Taju slowly stood up, covered in dirt and leaves. His face was red, and his stomach growled louder than ever. I was chasing a magical yam. It could plant itself, cook itself, and serve itself on a plate," he confessed sheepishly. The elders looked at each other, shaking their heads. Even if the yam could cook itself, you still have to chase it, one elder said, his voice serious. Another added, Taju, you cannot cheat life. To eat, you must work. The world doesn't give you food on a plate. You must put in the effort. Taju sat in silence, his heart heavy with the truth. He had been searching for an easy way out, but now he understood there were no shortcuts. To enjoy life's blessings, he needed to work for them. The next morning, with the first light of dawn breaking over the village, Taju awoke early. He grabbed his hoe, walked to the fields, and started walking. The air was cool, the birds sang, and for the first time in a long while, Taju felt a sense of purpose. Days turned into weeks. He worked the land, sowing seeds, pulling weeds, and tending to the crops. The sun rose and set, but Taju no longer wished to be lazy. He woke up with determination, feeling the sweat on his brow and the satisfaction of his hard work. Finally, after many months of hard labor, Taju's efforts paid off. The yams he had planted grew tall and thick, bigger than any other yams in the village. The villagers gathered to celebrate, cheering for Taju, who stood proudly beside the largest yam in the village. The village chief smiled warmly and clapped Taju on the back. Well done, Taju. Now, you won't have to chase your food anymore. Taju beamed, grateful for the lesson he had learned. And from that day on, he worked hard, knowing that nothing good comes without effort. There is no food for a lazy man. Hard work always pays off. You cannot cheat life's process. And so ends the tale of Taju and the stubborn yam. Remember, my friends, if you ever feel lazy, think of Taju. Don't let your food run away.